they're finally able to travel from a medical standpoint as well. So, I think having the whole group here, having those guys here gives us a little bit of a boost emotionally. And then having their perspective. I mean, you're talking about 3 point guards that are sitting on the sideline that can talk to our team in huddles, that can talk to our team, throughout the course of dead balls or when they come on and off the floor.
The Indiana Fever didn't just lose Game 1 to the Atlanta Dream, they lost control of the whistle. Because from blown calls to missed fouls and a technical on Stephanie White, fans are asking if the referees, not the players, decided this playoff game. From the very start, things went off the rails. Stephanie White burned both of her coaches' challenges in the first half, and both were successful, proving the referees had already missed critical calls. Marcy Williams' whistle became the center of attention instead of the Fever's defense or the Dream's offense. And when the game tightened, the mistakes piled up, loose ball grabs that went uncalled, moving screens ignored, and a momentum shift that gave Atlanta free possessions. By halftime,
Lexi, talk about the physicality of this game and knowing it's the playoff playing in such a physical game like today.
Yeah, I think we knew coming in it's playoffs, it's going to be physical, and we're going to have to learn how to play with that, especially this team is inherently a physical team. So for us, knowing that's the case and being able to respond, I think there's things that we're able to watch and film on how to handle that better, not letting the refs determine, how that physically is impacting us, but just continuing to play through that. It's definitely something we're going to have to work on and watch film and get better at, but that's part of playoffs, and that's part of the thing that we're going to have to get better at moving forward in the series.
Fans weren't talking about Caitlin Clark's shooting or Ryan Howard's scoring. They were talking about the officials, and that's the last thing any playoff game should be remembered for. By the fourth quarter, Stephanie White had reached her breaking point. After yet another no call under the basket, she erupted, storming toward the officials so fiercely that her own players had to hold her back. The whistle came down with a technical foul, but that didn't silence her. It only fueled the frustration. In her post-game,
going to get T. It's Stephanie White. She has had enough of what she has seen from the officials here today. Understandable frustration from Stephanie White.
Couple of possessions in a row where Leah Boston got the fouls. I thought the first one should have been on Howard, and then here, as Petty's in there, Hillman kind of tosses her to the side a little bit, and that was the straw that broke the camel's
comments. White didn't sugarcoat anything. 2 words summed up her feelings: not acceptable. For a coach who usually keeps her composure, that explosion told fans everything. She wasn't just mad about one play, she was furious about a pattern. This wasn't the first time Stephanie White clashed with officiating, and it likely won't be the last. All season long, the Fever have been on the wrong side of baffling calls and lopsided whistles. Back in May against the Liberty, the free throw discrepancy was so glaring that White openly questioned whether her team was being treated with the same respect as others. Caitlin Clark was hammered driving to the rim, only to get no call, while DeWanna Bonner or Sabrina Ionescu on the other end would immediately head to the line for contact that looked nearly identical. Fans on social media lit up, accusing referees of favoritism, pointing to replay clips that showed clear fouls swallowed by silence. White didn't just voice frustration once she's been consistent in highlighting the inconsistency, calling out what she described as uneven standards and moving targets for how games are called. Even in regular season games outside the spotlight, the Fever repeatedly felt momentum slip away, not because of missed shots, but because of missed whistles. Every team in the WNBA complains about officiating at times, but for Indiana, it's been almost constant. When those frustrations finally boiled over on the playoff stage, it didn't feel like a coach losing her cool. It felt like the breaking point of months of pent-up tension. And for Fever fans, that's where the anger deepens. One bad call can be brushed off, but when it becomes a season-long story of missed whistles, blown challenges, and constant battles with referees, people stop asking if it's coincidence and start asking if something bigger is happening. After the chaos of Game 1, many fans turned to the rulebook, desperate to make sense of what they saw. By WNBA guidelines, a coach has only 2 challenges, and White burned both in the first half, yet both were successful. That alone is a massive red flag. If both challenges overturn referee decisions, it means the officials got it wrong twice in just 20 minutes of play. In a playoff matchup, those mistakes can swing momentum, possessions, even the entire outcome. Then there's the issue of non-calls, which are harder to measure but no less damaging. Take the moment when Ryan Howard grabbed Shea Petty, spun her under the basket, and the officials let it go. By the rulebook, that's a foul every time excessive contact that disrupts play. Yet, nothing was called. Fans clipped the replay, slowed it down, and flooded social media with posts demanding answers. The silence from the officiating crew only made the outrage louder. To be fair, referees are human. The league has openly admitted in past seasons that errors happen, even releasing last 2-minute reports in high-profile games to confirm missed calls. But in this case, no immediate acknowledgement. The official stance from the league, silence so far. The stance from the fans, outrage. And that divide is fueling a dangerous question. If the rules are this inconsistently applied, how much trust is left in the people meant to enforce them? This isn't just about one playoff loss. It's about the heart of the game itself. When a team feels the referees are deciding the outcome, not the players, it cuts deeper than any scoreboard ever could. For the Indiana Fever, Game 1 wasn't just a defeat, it was a statement that even their best effort could be undone by the whistle. And for Stephanie White, that's devastating. A coach can game plan for an opponent, study film, adjust rotations, but she can't game plan for inconsistency. Momentum in basketball is fragile. A blown call in the second quarter can snowball into a lost rhythm, and by the fourth quarter, that one mistake has multiplied into frustration, missed opportunities, and a widening gap on the scoreboard. Against Atlanta, that's exactly what happened. Every ignored foul chipped away at the Fever's composure. Every questionable whistle gave the Dream another shot of energy. And when White finally snapped, it wasn't just anger, it was the breaking point of a team that felt powerless against forces outside their control. For the league, the stakes are even higher. The WNBA is fighting for credibility, growth, and new fans. Caitlin Clark has drawn record-breaking ratings, packed arenas, and captured mainstream attention. But with that spotlight comes scrutiny. Millions are watching, and when officiating looks flawed or biased, those new fans don't see a showcase of talent, they see a league that can't keep its house in order. That's why this controversy matters. It's not just Indiana versus Atlanta, it's trust versus doubt, integrity versus suspicion. If fans start believing games are rigged, whether it's true or not, the damage lingers far longer than any playoff series. And here's where the conversation takes a darker turn. Fans aren't just angry, some are saying the word nobody in the league wants to hear, rigged. On social media, clips of the non-calls are paired with captions accusing referees of deciding outcomes, not enforcing rules. Rumors suggest certain crews have patterns of favoring star-driven storylines, or that marketable matchups push the league's bottom line. It's speculation, yes, but it's spreading fast, and once that seed is planted, it's hard to pull out. But not everyone is convinced of a conspiracy. Others argue this is what happens when officiating a physical, fast-paced sport. Missed calls happen at every level, from youth leagues to the NBA Finals. One referee might swallow the whistle on contact under the rim, while another calls it tight. That inconsistency looks like bias, but in reality, it may just be human error. And coaches like White, known for their fiery competitive streaks, can sometimes amplify those moments under playoff pressure. Still, the optics matter. When a coach successfully challenges 2 calls in one half, that proves mistakes were real. When a viral clip shows a player being spun to the ground with no whistle, that fuels outrage. And when a coach has to be restrained by her own players, fans don't see it as a normal night of officiating, they see a crisis of credibility. So, is the WNBA guilty of rigging games? There's no evidence to prove it. But is the league guilty of inconsistency, lack of accountability, and silence when fans demand answers? That's much harder to deny. And in the court of public opinion, sometimes silence screams the loudest. The Fever's game, one loss to the Atlanta Dream, will go into the record books as a simple 80-68 defeat, but for Stephanie White and her players, it will be remembered as something far bigger the night, where trust in the whistle broke down on the playoff stage. 2 overturned